Welcome back to G Brands, brought to you by Harvey Norman. Harvey Norman has a huge range of next-gen AI PCs with the world's top brands, Microsoft, HP, Lenovo, Acer and Asus, all powered by Snapdragon. I'm Andy Rowan. This week I'm joined by Wallaby winner Jeremy Paul. All Blacks legend Justin Marshall will be joining us from Chicago. He's currently at the ice hockey. And on the couch today, former New Zealand Maori midfielder and 2017 Super Rugby champion, Tim Bateman.
Hey,
how are you, buddy?
Man, just saying, I feel like I've made it getting on the couch. Hey,
yeah, you have, and it comes crashing down very, very quickly. So be on your best today. But how are things, buddy? How are things,
mate? Really, really good. Yeah, it's been flat out. Recently, sort of going back and forth from Australia a bit at the moment, but good to be back in Christchurch, chilling out. You know, it's good.
Yeah, let's dive into that, mate. Like back and forth with Australia, but. Obviously, talk about the setup here in New Zealand first, because this is it's obviously an industry now where people are starting to realise about not just the recovery side, but looking after your body as well, like and being able to sort of go to a place which fits all different types of individuals. Right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. You're so right too. It was like because I got into this 10 years ago.
Whilst you were playing.
Whilst I was still playing, So my wife has multiple sclerosis, and it was one of those ones where you sort of, you know, I know similar to your sort of story, when things are going wrong at home, it's like you just do everything you possibly can to try and find how you can help. Long story short, she had a stem cell transplant in Singapore, and they recommended flotation therapy to us, and we were like, what's this random flotation therapy? You know, sensory deprivation tanks. And then so we went for a float in Singapore together. I was in one room, she was in another room. And I had just like the best experience ever. It's like,
wow.
It's like, you know, the water is the same temperature as the air, which is the same temperature as your skin. And the music sort of plays and you're under the water. And then after a period of time, the sort of music fades out and you can turn the lights off.
Yeah.
So with the lights off, it's literally like you're in space. Like you can't feel anything. You feel like you just disappeared. Wow. And I had this massive vivid dream. I was back at my family home and I was like, you know, going around then the music came back on at the end and I was like, what the hell just happened? I've just been transported. Got out to Laura in reception. I could see in her face immediately. So I was like, I want to get out of here. She was like, she got salt in her eyes.
Oh, she didn't rate it.
Yeah, because if you get salt in your eyes and those things, it stings like fuck. Because it's like really, really dense. Like how much salt goes into one of these?
There's like
you're
600 kgs of salt in there, and so like
because you got to float above it, right? Because it keeps you above. Yeah.
But, you know, you're naked in your own pod, and she was like, I've got two buttons here. One's the light button, one's like an alert, I think. And she was like, I don't know if I push the wrong button, they're going to come into the room. And so she had, and anyway, I got her back the next day, and she had a good experience. And then after her third one, she was like, we're buying one for the house. Like, it was a game changer for her, like energy levels and everything. So we ended up setting up a business a few months later. I retired from rugby, set up the business in 2016. And then ran it for 6 months. And then Razor came in for a float one day and re-signed me for the Crusaders for another 3 years, for 17, 18, 19. So I've been doing it for a long time, but you're right. Like it's really becoming a thing now, like recovery and wellness. Like people doing it together in lots of different ways with saunas and ice baths, etc. But others, it's just, they're doing it for a specific reason, you know. Recovering is a part of it. Other people are stressed, all sorts of stuff.
Well, actually, the float tank, Griggs used to do that when he played. Like
let me guess, the Brumbies invented it.
No, mate, we invented a few things, but not the float tank. No, that was definitely around before. So we obviously in Canberra had the Australian Institute of Sport. Actually, these guys, I believe, built the massive recovery centre down there with no data. They knew recovery, like in terms of the hot and cold and the flotation tanks, all this sort of stuff. Like they knew the recovery side and they knew it did work, but they had to capture the data, if that makes sense. So we were obviously incredibly fortunate enough to be able to use that. But Greg swore by, like every Thursday on like our day off in Canberra, he'd have a float.
Yeah. It's so cool. I've been to the LES before too, and I was blown away when I saw there was a float tank in there. I was like, wow, these guys were like ahead of the...
Early 2000s, man, late 90s.
Like crazy early. That's like, you know... It would have been at least 10 years
That was before Rogan was even talking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate, we did a lot of things before anyone spoke about it.
Invented the jackal.
And a few of those ex-Wallaby boys, like got to catch up with them in the Classic. So Stephen Hoyles has a couple of centres. I think there's three or four now in Sydney. Then Benny Lucas from the Queensland Reds up in, I think it's up in Noosa. Another very simple, but I think different types of places, because when I had a good chat with Benny, he was talking about, look, we concentrated on the data, and then so they got into the hyperbaric chamber, the oxygen ones as well. Like,
because you guys are going into Australia now as well, aren't you?
Yeah, so we've got, and there's some awesome people doing this up there. Like as you've mentioned, it's like I'd say Australia's ahead of New Zealand in terms of just general understanding of recovery and well-being. I just think, these guys, my dad's age, that are wearing like whoops and Oura rings and like looking at their sleep quality and looking at the way that their stress is impacting
in Australia.
I've just noticed that. I reckon it's way ahead. But so I mean, we've got 8 locations running in New Zealand. We've got another 5 opening, so that'll take us to 13.
Wow.
They'll all be open by probably June next year.
Yeah,
it's funny because like we have equal amount of private rooms and communal areas, and so a lot of people aren't comfortable in their togs. In fact, like it was so funny actually, because we've had like a lot of the rugby players come into our facilities here, and all groups of teams coming in, and they're all pretty, like all the guys are pretty like, circumspect. They'll sort of go into change room and get changed and stuff. We had the Kangaroos come in when they came out here and played.
Budgies everywhere.
I swear, they were half a toe through the front door, and they were in their budgies. It was just shredded, muscly guys just running through the facility. But in all seriousness, like, so we deliberately try and have like private spaces where it could be just you and your partner, or just by yourself, where you've got your own private sauna and ice bath set up, like high quality, or you have these big communal areas where lots of people are comfortable being in togs and stuff.
Mate, quickly about the Kangaroos, I'll never forget this. We're in France in 2004, and obviously we had Wendell, Matty Rogers, and Lottie DeCary. So the Kangaroos were over there at the same time. So they were with Wayne Bennett. Wayne Bennett gave him a couple of days off. So we obviously got to catch up with them. We'd been out, like, you remember, like over in France, man, they always thought it was a great idea to send the touring teams to the Moulin Rouge and like give them free Moet Chandon all night. Like, so blokes are like sculling bottles like this one, right? Like at the table.
Oh yeah, that'd be carnage.
Oh no,
it's quite a sophisticated place.
It was crazy. And look, me being like the social coordinator, I found the one bar in Paris that spoke like it was Bugsy's, actually, this Irish bar. And they put a keg on for us all day. So we'd been there all day, went to the Moulin Rouge, and we're thinking, we're pretty tasty here. And we walk into the Moulin Rouge to meet the Kangaroos, and 3 of them walk around the corner naked. And I'm like, that next level, eh? It was next Rugby League, man. It was next level. Like they actually made me cover up with all my clothes on. Like that was so funny. Yeah. But just absolute champions. Like just could not. Just incredible sports people, but. Yeah, we used to do a lot of interaction with them. But look, but from your footy side too, man, like, in terms of, you were with one of not arguably the greatest Super Rugby provincial side of all time. Just that learning too, I suppose, that you've transferred into your business life, like that teamwork and that obviously that culture side of things. Did that give you a good stepping stone into the business side?
Like massively. I'm sure you had the same.
Correct.
It's and you hear people talk about it, like the similarities between like high performance sport and culture and high performing business organisations. But I was really lucky. Like I was through sort of 2 windows with the Crusaders, from sort of 2006 to 2010, and then I was away for 7 years, and came back in 2017 and did another stint, another 4 years. And so like I did like a few years with Robbie Deans as head coach, Todd for a year and a bit, and then I had Razor from 2017, and I mean, like huge amounts when it comes to like culture and performance. Like, because when you hear people say like, culture impacts performance, it's really hard to know what that actually means, I reckon. Like what is high performance culture? Like what does that actually mean? And I just reckon they had this really like a really good mix of like help out, not catch out. Everything was like everyone was trying to help each other out, really hard on one another, but like huge amount of care, like pressure and care were like balanced really well together.
It's a fine line too, isn't it? Like that ability to be able to rip someone apart, but then give them a hug and a kiss afterwards. You know what I mean? And they know that it's not personal. Like you just move straight. Yeah, it's incredible fine line. Like at that elite level.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's almost like the more pressure there is, the more care there was sort of wrapped around.
Or the more you got ripped apart,
or
like
like-
from
or
Greeks,
gone,
like
yeah.
from Greek, and man, he was
I can
awful.
imagine,
He
yeah.
was so
Man.
scary.
There's some pretty high profile coaches. Who how do you kind of, I don't want you to rank them, but like
Rank
what,
him,
like
rank him.
yeah, fuck it, rank them.
Well, I mean, Razor he's a legend. Like I mean, I've worked really closely with him for a long time. I still do little bits and pieces catching up with him. He's a top man. Robbie, he was my first sort of coach, you know, proper, like, wow, this guy was he was a guru. Funny story. I actually nearly went to Australia after he left. Like,
Really?
and,
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Like, it was. So remember in 2007, the All Blacks lost the World Cup.
Yeah,
Oh,
quarterfinal
yeah.
It was
against
like,
France.
you know, and it was like who's going to become the next coach, and they were looking at reinstating Graham Henry and Steve Hansen, or Robbie was going for the role.
Right, yeah.
And then when he didn't get the role, he took the Wallabies job, and he said to me, "He was like, you're going to battle to ever be a regular All Black. You might get pulled in, but the way they're playing, they've got big midfielders, like a big 12. They don't play two pivots like he did. So even when he went to the Wallabies, he'd play like Berrick Barnes and Matt Giddo, you know, like two sort of 10, 12, but they were smaller.
Yeah.
They were like
Yep.
they would lead the game, run the game. So he had this sort of big conversation with me about it. He's like, if you want to play international for a long time, you should come to Australia. And I was really young, and I was like, oh. And I backed myself. I was like, nah, I'll be good enough. Big mistake. Ma'ahu, yes.
It is time now for this week's Harvey Norman Next Gen Moment of the Week. Harvey Norman has a huge range of next gen AI PCs from the world's top brands, Microsoft, HP, Lenovo, Acer and Asus, all powered by Snapdragon. And this week, we're talking speed.
We are talking speed. Harvey Norman, when we think about speed, we think about Reece Walsh.
Oh,
We think about
Rugby
how
League.
electric, mate. How fast was he on the weekend in the Ashes? Like, and just every time he touched it, like it's explosive.
It's honestly like everyone else in slow motion around him. That's what it looks like. It's all of a sudden he's running across the field and everyone just stopped. And he finds a gap, he just bang, he's straight through.
Open the checkbook, you reckon?
Imagine that. Imagine if the Wallabies pulled him across.
where would you put him though? And how would he even go that well? Because we've seen players come across that haven't gone that well. Would he go well in union, do you reckon?
You'd have to put him in fullback. Like, you couldn't put him in a playmaking position, and he needs space too, right? Like, so that decision making at the back. But no, I'd love to see him in union. I reckon Phil Waugh, open up that checkbook, bro.
How much would you pay for him?
I'd pay over $1 million a year, 100%.
Over $1 million a year?
Because
Yeah, you
because
have to.
Yeah.
mate, he put bums on seats anyway. So look at Suwa'ali'i.
I reckon you're gonna have to pay him $2 million.
Mate,
Yeah, two.
Well,
Yeah.
to get him over, you're probably going to have to, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we just get R360 to pay him first, and then we come over later.
Yeah, he'd be a game changer. Like he's too fast. Fullback, like a Damien McKenzie, you know, when he was like,
Yes,
just
model.
like loose,
Yes.
that sort of model, and just let him loose.
Yep.
Just like a Snapdragon powered PC clocking in at 45 trillion operations per second, learning how you work and responding in real time. We are talking speed. That was your Harvey Norman Next Gen moment. Head into your local Harvey Norman and experience the power of Next Gen AI PCs. How are you feeling though? Because if we're talking about rugby, you might need a float. You might need to head down to O Studio for a float, because that weekend you guys almost got rolled by Japan.
Yeah, no, look, it was unexpected, wasn't it? Look, if you watch, very, very, very quickly. Look, we made it hard for ourselves. Like, look, 13 changes. There was always
we don't
going
need
to
to be quick. We can talk about this.
No,
as long as
I
you
want to
like,
be
mate.
quick. I want to move on. No, look, I think when you look at the game, 13 changes, the cohesion was always going to be lacking. The combinations aren't there. Like, and then you look at the class of the players. Like, again, Hunter Paisami and Josh Fluke. Like, please, like I thought Hunter was actually Paisami was the best player on the field. I think Josh Fluke is a really good talent. But when you have Len Ikitau, who is current John Eales medalist, best player in Australia, and Joseph Akuso Suwa'ali'i, like, you're looking at like a real big class drop too. Yeah. So, but that's how you build your depth, right? Like you've got to give these guys, because these guys are going on a 4 to 5 week tour, might not play another game. So I love the way Joe Smith actually made those changes. Look, we should have been 35-7 at half time. Like Carlo Tizzano got disallowed 3 times. Like there was twice he was over the try line. I don't know how they were disallowed. Little bit of decision making too. Like, look, people have spoken about Big Lucan and obviously Josh Cannon as well being injured. Like Lucan was a big loss with his ribs in the first 3 minutes. Young Josh Cannon knocked out. I think it was like the 22nd minute. But we actually did okay. Look, set piece struggled a little bit in the second half, but we were still pretty good if we stuck to what we were very good at the day, and that was line out maul and set piece and taking territory. Unfortunately, we couldn't build any momentum because we couldn't hold on to the ball in that second half. But look, again, you wanted to give those players, you wanted to give them some game time. That was successful. Like I think you've got to look at the harmony and the culture of the team going on a really long tour.
Does it show also that Joe Smith has found his 23? Like he knows his best 15, because the most of the guys that played in the weekend, correct me if I'm wrong, aren't probably in his top 15, right? So he's gone through, like last year, he went through the pain of playing all the players, working out who his top team was, and now he is so crystal clear on who his best players are moving forward.
Isn't that funny? Isn't it? Like we spoke about it last year, right? Like when's Joe going to lock down his selections? No, they'll come, mate. They'll come. Look, it was good to get some time too for big Rob Valentini and Jake Gordon, who are probably going to be playing, probably the only 2 guys that will probably start. Maybe Andrew Callaway, a fullback as well, because of the injury to Tom Wright. It's good to see Dylan Peach back from a broken jaw as well. Like, my goodness, Like, so, look, there's a lot of really good things to come out of that. Again, like, it's the old cliche, right? Like, take the win, right? Take the win. But that's where they had to, as a team, where they had to take the win as in an ugly win, if that made sense. Like, it was torrential rain. Yeah. They had a couple of injuries. You know what? Do what the Springboks would do: kick to corners, pressure in the lineouts, pressure set piece, right? Like, and they had this unbelievable rolling. Like their maul was insane. There was like this 20-meter. They went for 20 meters, and Japan actually lost 2 players to the bin too in the first half. So they didn't also capitalise on opportunities, right?
Yeah, you're right. Like playing in the torrential rain, heap of changes against a team like Japan. It's actually quite a hard. It's quite a hard thing to come up against. All they needed was capitalise on a couple of those early tries. Then it could have been quite different. And they just missed a couple of real game breakers. Like, I agree, like without Ikitau and Slightly in there, it just, that opens up the game against the Japanese often. It's like completely against the run of play. Someone will just beat someone, fend someone off, try. I mean, you get a couple of those and a bit of momentum under your belt. That's where Japan has sort of slipped up a bit more recently. So the game all of a sudden became really tight.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Yeah. Look, you got to give credit to the Blossoms, though, the Brave Blossoms. Like their defence was extraordinary. Yeah. Like they just tackled and tackled and tackled. But actually, I'd be interested to know about young Tane Edmund, right? Like when he came over to the NPC over here. Look, for me personally, right, with a young 10. I would concentrate, because your decision making, that's going to come with experience. But I believe you concentrate on one skill set that will give you confidence. And for me, as a young 10, I want you to put that ball 5 to 7 meters outside that try line. Like every time you kick for the sideline for a penalty, and we take the option for the sideline, I want it 5 to 7 meters like that. Yeah.
That's a big ask, though.
There's a big difference between 5 and 7 and too far back.
And too far. No, so Finn Russell, like in the Lions series, right? There were 2 distinctive. I still actually remember the kicks where he put them 7 meters out. Yeah. Like when you have a kicker as a forward pack, particularly when you've got this really, really robust, strong maul. Mate, the difference from 20 metres out to that sort of attacking where you got a chance to score a try. So what I'm saying is, as a young 10, to take pressure off your decision making, and to make, those right decisions, because it's so hard, man. It's so quick. Everyone's in your face. I personally, for me, if I was Tane, I would be working on one thing that I can lift the team.
Yeah.
Right, and that's that corner.
I could not agree more with that. I remember Dan Carter being in a strategy meeting and telling everyone like he's going to kick a few dead this year.
I love that.
I'm going to kick a few dead this year, and when I'm kicking for a touch, because I know how important it is to get close to the try line. Like, and you think about how many rolling maul tries the Crusaders scored over the years. Like that was his mindset. Exactly what you just described. Was 100% his mindset. But everyone would go into the game with this knowing that Dan might put one out over the end goal. Very rarely happened. It might have happened once or twice because he was that sharp. But that was the mindset. The difference between a maul for 10 metres and the maul for 5 metres is like that completely different things. It's a try or a real 50-50.
No, it's actually not even 50-50.
Not even 50, exactly.
But I think it's also to the confidence for the forward pack to the 10. So if you're not making good decisions around the field, then you just doing that one skill set, like because you, as a back man, you always want your forwards to love you, right? Particularly as a 10, right? Like when your big boppers turn around to you and go, "Well done, kid. That was awesome," right? Yeah. So to me, like when I watched the game on the weekend again, I was like, as a young bloke, I would seriously just zero in on that one skill set. That personally so for me. But look, from a Wallaby confidence point of view, it would have had to have taken a hit simply because they were expected to win by more. Were there excuses? Yeah, there's excuses. Were there some good things? Yeah, absolutely, there's some good things, mate. Like Carlo Tizzano again putting pressure on Fraser McWright. Like it's those one-on-one battles too, I believe, that they need to continually put pressure on that starting team.
You've got England this weekend.
Yeah,
take a look at that. That's massive. Like you've got this game under your belt. You've had the Rugby Championship where you performed pretty well. You performed pretty well against the Lions as well. England have been down to Argentina and thumped them in 2 tests. Where do you see, how do you view this game? Because it's at Twickenham. You're coming off a poor performance with a mixed bag of players.
Mate, I see it as the same as last year, man. Again, look.
Jorgensen.
Well, no, just that willingness to play. Look, I said this actually last year too, man. Like, I think a side who runs out of their own 22. I believe that is your yardstick with respects to confidence level, and it's not youth or the inexperience. I think it's actually the fact that confident to pass it out. And we saw last year's Test match against England, which we hadn't seen. Look, it was Swahili's first Test, all this sort of stuff, but they ran out of their own 22, I think it was 6 times, and made 5 breaks. When you can run out of your own 22, man, the confidence level throughout your whole team. Yep. And that last try that Jorgensen did score too, mate, that was also off some really good structured play too. And players knew where to be. So that bit of clarity as well. Mate, you guys were the kings of clarity. You guys, everyone knew their job, right? And when you're playing in a team where everyone knows what they're doing, it feels so simple, right? It feels really, really easy.
The start of it is feeling empowered by the coach to take the space that they're giving you.
Nice.
If they're not giving you kick space, then if they're giving you kick space, you've got to be able to kick. If they're taking away the kick space, you've got to have the confidence to take the edge, And that's what I saw with the Wallabies in that game. It's England were giving them the width space. It was have a crack, see what you're going to do.
Yeah, and they took it, didn't it? Yeah.
You've got to feel that. You got to know that, back in my sort of situation, it was I remember thinking, what's Brad Thorne going to say if we take this space here? Because they're giving it to us. You know what I mean? Because he would be the person that would come and say, what are we doing?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? But once again, if you can look back and say, nah, we're taking the space because this is what the coaches told us to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to make some mistakes every now and
then. And even if you do stuff it right, it was the best option.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Look, and I think...
So you think we're going to see that potentially from the Wallabies is that if they get possession and they're only 22 and they see the space out wide, they're going to take it. So we could see some long-range attack.
Oh, absolutely. Look, they've shown it all year. And they started this on the autumn test last year against England. That's where I believe they took a step up with respects to their attack. But look, again, defensively, I think what we're seeing over the Lions and the Rugby Championship were, these starts. My God.
Yeah.
You just can't give that many points, man. Expect to be in the game. Look, they've done incredibly well. Like that Joburg, like wow, like 21-0.
That was unbelievable.
Wasn't it incredible, right?
It
You
was.
know how difficult it is to win there,
mate.
right? Like,
yeah. How long had it been? It was something like 60 years.
mate, 62 years. Like, yeah. So, but again, right? Like that willingness to just keep going and keep going, because that's how you beat them in on the high out, right? And the altitude is just you got to keep playing. You got to keep playing. You can't do that stop-start thing. You have to play. But when I sort of look at this, because England first, right? Like that's the big one, and maybe the fact that they haven't played a game too, like a bit of a warm-up. Like, so we're also getting them fresh. But when you think about it, though, we're potentially going to make another 13 changes, aren't we? Like, when you think about the side, like, oh, no, look, I think Bell, obviously Billy Pollard will come in, probably maybe Big Tongan Thor, but I think that's the interesting part for two now for the Wallabies is the international players. When do we get them? When do they leave? Yeah. Angus Bell, I know, is going to his new club in Ireland. You got Big Tanalia Tupu, who's going to his club in France.
They'll get them for the tour, won't they?
This is the hard part. Like, they signed for November. See, if they got Australian contracts, we have them until November. November's done.
Right.
So that's when your contract expires. So when you go overseas, the Wallabies can actually hold you, like can keep you until November, right? Like I think it's very similar in New Zealand. But if you're not in the test team, they'll release you early. But when you look at the players now that
all your games are in November.
Yeah, so we don't look. It's actually up. Mate, no one knows. Like no one can confirm. Like I said, Angus Bell.
So you mean we have them up until November?
No, I think the 1st of November they get released. Normally they get released.
Can technically take them.
Correct.
For November.
Correct.
So they might
Wouldn't surprise me if the French
Correct.
Oh, the French, of course they would.
What do you mean?
Well, no, I don't think Will Skilton's playing in. I don't know, like, because he played the Lions, like, because again, I don't know about the negotiations underneath to keep him when he came back for the Bledisloe and Perth as well. Like,
right.
See, this is it really is for us. This is brand new territory now for Australian rugby, and using players from overseas. Like,
do you think we'll see Carter Gordon? I mean, how good's that?
What a story. Like, talking about rugby league, like, mate, the guy had a cerebro fluid leak, like I think it is, like on his spine. Like it was this, it was a full on, like he was debilitated, bedridden, like he was having these back spasms. What I read was it was a preseason in this year, 2025. They found this leak in his spinal fluid. And so he had to obviously get operated, bedridden, didn't even know like whether or not his body was going to be able to rejuvenate again, let alone play again. Yeah. And he actually said Des Hasler was incredible during that whole time. Yeah, like as good coaches do, right? Yeah. Like they care about their players. But he got back on the field, which was remarkable. And do you know what? What I love about his decision coming back is it was, fuck pride. Don't care about pride. You know what? Here's my opportunity to come back to Australia right now. Yeah, I didn't make it in the league. You know what? So be it. Yeah. Bang. I've come straight back. And no one's nailed that 10. Like not when Noah got injured as well. You got Tom Liner with injury problems. Tane Edmund.
Has he battling about the...
He's had a bad hamstring, but also his head too. Like he's had about
Tom
3 or
Liner's
4.
Recurring head
injuries as well.
Who's your like go-to 10?
It was Noah. It was Noah, and then our boy Rabs, like James O'Connor. Yeah. Do you know? Like he even this has kind of rejuvenated him too, right? Like he's a chance for the 2027 rugby. No one would have said that at the start of the year. Like
we can't get through a podcast.
The boys love him. Like
the boys love them
here in Christchurch with the Crusaders.
Yeah, all of them. Like loved them.
Wow,
like, they were just like the best player to have in the team with us. Like, and I went into a couple of these strategy meetings, and he is so sharp. Like the value that he brings to any team is huge. I'd love to.
You'd think so at 35.
How he thinks about the game as well, and the way he's able to articulate strategy and knowledge to people that know strategy and knowledge in rugby, and then just the average punter, i.e. me on the street. Like if he says something and I question him on it, he can layman it down. And make it
he's very
accessible
smart
to everyone. He's very clued up.
I just loved his attitude though, right? Like he said from the start, of course I want to play in the Lions. Like I came to Christchurch because I want to be in the Lions. Like he stayed here and came for nothing.
Can I just ask about the England squad? Are you surprised Owen Farrell hasn't been put in?
Yeah, I'd be picking him.
Yeah, you'd put him in the squad,
I'd
right?
be picking him.
Now that he's eligible, if he's gone back to Saris, like, has he been playing well? Do we know? Like,
well, he played for the Lions. He played in the Lions, didn't he?
No, but they've already started.
Saris are fourth on the table. He's
Well, that's
Owen
it.
Farrell. Like,
it's.
he's a big presence in a team.
Well, I just
And
hope
if you need a second five.
I
he's
just
the
hope
guy,
they
right?
play that Marcus Smith like at 10. I know they got that. Was it Finn Smith?
I just think it's an absolute shambles in putting him at fullback every
Oh,
time.
me too, man.
Like you're ruining it. Like he's
Me too.
He's a gun. He's an
It's that
absolute gun
manufacturing
ten.
again of good players, the Damien McKenzie, right? Like, is he a fullback? Is he a 10?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then you wanna have him on the field, so the manufacturing positions.
Yeah.
Like, Marshy and I we've discussed this at length, right? Marshy fucking hates it. Like, he hates that manufacturing of which is fair enough, right? Like, too, right?
Well,
Like,
Marcus Smith could be one of the best tens in the world.
I think so.
Yeah.
I love him, mate. I think he was also too one of England's best players last year in all the autumn tests. Like, and then, I don't get it, man. I'd play him at 10. I want him to touch the ball as much as possible.
Yeah.
Well, do you think it's just a coach not being like not having the balls to be like, actually, I'm picking this player and I'm picking the best fullback. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's the public pressure of I've got to have him on the field somewhere. You know, like I think
Absolutely,
about Marshy, like
mate.
back in the day
Absolutely.
when it was like, you know, Liam McDonald got moved to centre or Cully got moved to centre.
Yeah.
And it was almost like the coach didn't have the balls to be like, I'm benching you because I'm
Right,
picking someone else. I'm trying to I'm moving you there to sort of appease everyone else. That's what it sort of feels like. It's like if you're not going to pick him
Exactly
at
the
the starting,
same, bro.
like you've got to have the best fullback.
All right. Well, we're going to chuck our headphones on because we're joined by a very special guest. Well, he's not that special. He's on the show every week, Justin Marshall. We've already covered the Wallabies in depth, and but we want to actually. I want to cover a story that Timmy was floating before while we're waiting for you, because you were part of the 2017 Crusaders team that went to the final and won it in South Africa. And Marshy was involved in that team as well, wasn't he?
Marshy was heavily involved in that week. Actually, it was one of my it was epic. It was actually epic because you probably hadn't been in and around the team for quite a while, I'd say, prior to Razor being there and. So
be honest about what you thought about Marshy.
I've got to be honest because the boys are sort of like, he's just a commentator, you know. He's like from the outside, he's like, you know.
He's got Froster's tits and a fake tan, commentator and a media.
And he's a commentator sort of thing. That was the chat. And then you came in and we partnered up in the midfield as the Lions midfield playing against the Crusaders. And Marshy's in at 12 and he's just, it was like, you know, like almost full contact, you know. It was one of those sort of trainings on the Thursday training. And Marshy's going straight up the guts at Richie Wonga and like Jack's coming over top, like Jack Goody's tackling him. And it was an epic training. But then at the end of training,
Marshy's gone full contact.
Yeah, it was full contact. Yeah,
It's 2017.
Mate, and Marshy just took it to another level this game. It was in this training. It was awesome. But the biggest thing was at the end. It was like he pulled the whole team in, you know, together, and we're all in the circle at like last training run Thursday before a Saturday game. It's like, and Marshy just delivered this like any given Sunday speech.
Yes,
you know?
Marshy.
Stop it.
Like, this is what fucking Crusaders do. This is what we do because no team had ever crossed the Atlantic and won like a Super Rugby final from, you know, across it. And it was just like, and I just remember talking to Liam McDonald afterwards, and Liam was like, yeah, Todd Blackadder was their captain, but Marshy was like the captain. You know, he was like, this is what it was like. This was like their whole career. It was like Marshy was just like turning on, and we got like a little glimpse into like the OG Marshy. Just, you know, it was so good.
Can you remember some of the stuff he said?
Oh, it was all around like this is what Crusaders do. Like this is what we do. We travel and we win the big games.
I remember that well, Timmy, to be honest. And look, I was happy to be in the 12 jersey and not the 9 one. A few show and goes. I was like, 1-2 cut, 1-2 cut. Everyone's like, the fuck is a 1-2 cut? What's this guy talking about? I was just literally come on an inside ball. I'm going to dummy you, and then it's going to take the line on. I don't give a shit if I grubber it through. Just chase that sort of stuff. don't worry, we're taking on the Crusaders' best defensive line. So, I don't know. I thought I was playing a test match.
Did it feel like that to me?
It did, mate. It did. We'd planned all week what we were meant to be doing against the Crusaders. Marshy just came in and was like, just do this, run the short ball there, I'll take it out the back there. And all of a sudden, we were just free balling. It was awesome.
How good.
I think the thing is, like all three of us, not you, Andy, obviously. How good. Like when you go back into that environment and you know you're well retired and it is what it is, but you get this, because I only went along to watch and then they said, oh no, we're short of a man, put the boots on, and can you just run a few plays, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah.
You can see it. You can see it in his eyes.
Right, boys. No, boys, come
Where's
around
my white
here.
wristbands?
Let's get a circle gun, righto. Right. These guys are playing in a final at the weekend at Selhurst Park. You know, Jesus Christ, they don't know what they're coming up against. Let's throw some stuff they're not expecting. You know,
Exactly.
But all I wanted to do was, because they tell you, look, once you're done, and you'll never put the boots on and grab the jersey again. And this was a chance just to feel what it was like to be in the build-up to a final, and for the boys to invite me and to be part of it. Man, it was just an awesome feeling. So I'm glad you brought it up. Sometimes you speak in a circle like that, and it's a circle of trust, and you don't know if the words are going to resonate. If the old one did and it grabbed a hold, then it was good to know. The thing that really does resonate with me, speaking of that word, was, man, I didn't get invited to the court session, for God's sake. You know, like, you guys won the final.
Everyone was too scared
off the back
to
of my
have you in
attack.
there,
Yeah,
Everyone was too scared.
Marshy.
We all heard the stories.
Ruined the court sessions for the All Blacks.
Are you concerned? Because look, the Wallabies had their one hit out before they go on the European tour. They got rid of their bad game. Are you concerned that the All Blacks haven't had a lead-up game to this?
It's a relevant question. No, I think Ireland are more underdone. Look, at the end of the day, they had a scattering of Lions. And the thing that's quite interesting around this is Andy Farrell's back in charge, but he didn't select a lot of his Irish players throughout that Lions series that he knows a lot about. You know, let's just throw one name out into stratosphere, Bundy Aki. You know, started him, didn't start him, brought him on, wasn't quite so sure. It was quite unusual, you know, and James Lowe, another one. And then
Hansen?
I don't know whether it was external, yep, and I don't know whether that was external pressure because they weren't losing. So it's like, okay, so does that make them settled or unsettled? And equally, this is the British and Irish Lions. The Irish haven't played because of the Lions series since the Six Nations. So I feel in terms of the All Blacks, they're not unsettled. I think Ireland are way more unsettled. Obviously, Easterby had a charge of them. Now all of a sudden you've got Farrell coming back involved.
They've got a lot of injuries at the moment as well. Some of those players you mentioned.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
You've got Joe McCarthy, Matt Hansen have been ruled out. Bundy Aki has got a hip injury. Robbie Henshaw has a groin injury. They're in doubt but could play. Caelan Doris hasn't played since he has shoulder surgery in May.
Wow.
So when you talk about being underdone, there's only one team that you could say is underdone going into this game, and it's Ireland by a long shot.
Yes.
Have you, when you look at this All Black side, Marshy, some of the contentious positions or players that have where we've sort of come and gone, like in the wing space, like who are you thinking, or who would you like to see starting in the outside backs, especially because Whanganuku had a great game in his last outing. What are your sort of thoughts on the back three, especially
Outside backs? Yeah, hell of a good question, Andy. For once, because you know where I sit with the midfield, but Quinn played so well in that test in Perth that I'm like, you got to reward players equally.
Absolutely.
You got to think about where we were struggling, and we were struggling with punch, and he provided punch. And Timmy will know this. So when you've got that, you've all of a sudden created players that create opportunities for others. And the way that Tupaia played in that game, because it was wet, it didn't probably showcase how defensively the other team has to then adjust and go, okay, this guy's coming hard, he's coming on good lines. Yes, he can offload, because the focus on the outside is inhibited because of the wet conditions. The offload is slightly more treacherous, so you tend to hold rather than let it go.
I think Quinn at centre, like I'm a big Billy Proctor fan too. Just like, I know he's sort of had a mixed sort of run over the last few weeks, but he does everything right. Like, he's very, very technically good. The breakdown at the tackle, he's well connected. He's got a great skill set. He's got good vision, massive work rate.
I agree.
But I agree with Marshy. Like, he just lacked that real physical impact. Like, and Geordie's massive, but Geordie plays like a ball player as well. And Geordie's sort of got to get into a mindset to be real dominant, just real direct. He wants to play. So I reckon they actually complemented each other really well, Quinn and Geordie, like having someone who is really single-minded focus. I'm just going to be really aggressive, both sides, carrying and tackle. I think it just it would help their whole shape. I'm a massive Leicester fan too. I'd be putting him on the wing. Just the same sort of thing. Just his aggression, his mindset. He's the type of player you don't like playing against.
There's a big body, isn't he? But surely from a selection policy and rewarding players, they were under so much pressure in both those Bledisloe Cup games, right? Particularly in Perth. And mate, they responded to that and responded amazingly. So surely you got to reward that. Surely.
I think it's going to be interesting. I think they're building a lot of depth. They're building guys that could step in and play depending on the style that they want to play. Like, I think Quinn was really suited to a game that was a little bit more direct, slippery ball.
The
weather. If they want to play a little bit more expansive, like Billy's got one of the better passing games, I reckon, going around in the midfield. And so I think they've got options is the short answer. But in terms of just perfect mix, I would be putting Geordie with Quinn.
The key thing for me, Timmy, is, and it'll be good for you to educate, the pre-post contact with blitz defence. My problem has been with, and I say this in I hope an educational way. In South Africa, which is reasonably aggressive, but in the UK, and particularly what we saw in the Lions, the ability for them to come up and cut space and time in the midfield. Can somebody like Billy Proctor do it, which is key for blitz defence? Not pre-contact, post-contact. So two defenders come at you, or a defender come at you, you punch, and then everybody contains that situation, runs their line regardless. Will Jordan off your hip, through you go. Can he do that?
Yeah, I think out of the two of them at the moment, I think Quinn is going with the mindset of being really direct and then looking to distribute post-contact, whereas Billy he's more concentrating on the pre-contact. But I actually think Billy's got the skill set to do both. And Quinn's got a fantastic skill set too, don't get me wrong, but I actually think, skill set for skill set, I think Billy... I think if he had a real directive of like, I want you to be really combative, and then look to distribute if your arms are free, because he's actually got a great offload game. You just don't see it a lot because he's often thinking pre-contact as you've mentioned. Whereas I think in big test matches against like rush defences, I think as midfielders you should err on the side of no, I'm just going to dominate the collision. I'm going to run a really good line. I'm going to dominate the collision, and then if it opens up, it's there. I think. But once again, I think that's awesome they've got options. I really do. And I think they're going to push each other. Like, I'd love to see how they're going to grow. Like, you think of someone like Ma'a when he first came into the midfield a long time ago, and the way his game developed over time. Like, he became just good at everything. He put it on the foot. He could get the short pass, the long pass. He'd be real combative. I think both those guys could develop to become really, really good midfielders. But they're both leaning towards their strengths at the moment.
I look at Billy Proctor and Quinn. You had Billy Proctor, a guy who looked like a rookie, didn't chase the game, didn't get himself into the game, was you could tell he was a rookie, whereas
Finding
Quinn,
his feet a little bit more.
yeah,
Wasn't he?
look, he's thinking too much rather than playing, whereas Quinn chased the game, like he put himself into the game, like that try, those 2 tries that he scored, like that like they were just. And the efforts that he did in that Bledisloe Cup game was just remarkable because he chased it. He chased the game, got himself into the game. Whereas I've just felt like Billy Proctor's has just allowed the game to go in front of him, like rather than getting actually involved and maybe thinking too much. Like, do I play? Be more direct. Whereas Quinn was just bang, man, I'm in. But also too, look, I think Quinn also helps with Damien McKenzie. Like, I think there was no coincidence Damien McKenzie had one of his better games because Quinton Tupaia was on the field. So, look, I like the back. I like the back 3. I like the actual backs that they chose in the last Bledisloe. And I think you got to start with that same team, man. There's no reason to change. If it's not broke, no need to fix it.
You've got 2 types of players, I reckon, in rugby, just in general. You've got guys who really want to impact the game. They want the ball in their hands. They want the ball in their hands. They want to be making the tackle. They want to be impacting the game constantly. And like, you could go through the All Blacks 1 to 15. And I reckon you could pick out those guys quite comfortably, and you could pick out guys that are happy to just play their role. And I realise you've got to have both, but the more guys that you can have in the team that want those moments, it lifts everyone else around you. And I think there was a difference you were talking about with Billy and Quinn, as one just wants the ball, and one wants to impact the game, and one was more thinking about the game, And I think, I think that's the difference. Everyone knows that Artie wants the ball. Leicester wants the ball. You know what I mean? Like
the Michael Jordan thing, Kobe thing. They want the ball. Yeah. Thanks very much for coming on, Marshy.
Legend.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure, guys.
Thanks very much for coming on, Timmy.
Yes.
Mate, so good to be here. How good? This weekend's going to be epic. I reckon All Blacks got 20.
Mate, I think Ireland's got this game, personally. But anyway.
Wow. Shut up, JP. You're just saying that because you got the red hat on.
Mate, just quickly, though, sorry, the name of these places, too, that we're getting into, because all of our Australian listeners would love to know.
Oh, did we not even mention the name of
O Studio?
O Studio,
yeah.
O Studio is Timmy's company that is the wellness, basically a wellness hub, isn't it?
Yeah,
They've got floats, recovery and wellness. That you do the spiel.
Oh, mate, it's all saunas, ice baths.
Mate, it's awesome. Do you know how you feel? Like, this is probably not the spiel that you're after, but yesterday. It was a nice sunny hot day here in Christchurch. And I was hungover, and I went over to Akaroa and went for a swim. And you know that feeling of before you go in, you're hungover, and you're feeling like shit, and you go for a swim in some nice seawater, and you get out, and you're just like, bang, I'm 100. That's how you feel after you go to O Studio.
Oh, boom, really? There it is.
I didn't even tell him to say that, eh?
Wow.
That's
so good.
You've done this shit before, haven't you?
So good.
Nah, it's cool.
Thanks for coming over. JP.
Always, mate. Always.
And thank you very much for putting up with us, watching or listening. And a massive thank you to our mates at Harvey Norman. They've got huge ranges of next-gen AI PCs from the world's top brands. Microsoft, HP, Lenovo, Acer, and Asus, all powered by Snapdragon. Enjoy your ruggers this weekend.